Well, hopefully you have attempted the problems that were multiple choice. Remember that you are allowed to change your answers until you get the right answer. But if you are struggling with one, I have recorded all these solutions for this assignment, and I'll go through them. If you still have a question, please feel free to use the last question on the assignment, the free response, it's not multiple choice, to let me know what you're struggling with, which problem, and what is confusing about it. Now, if everything makes sense, either before you even attempt the problems or after you attempt the problems, or even you don't need to do the watch the video solutions, then you should share in that last question 3 things you learned during this lesson. And also, it should not be something, oh, I learned about variables, okay? That doesn't count. You got to tell me, what did you learn about variables? Maybe you learned there are 3 types of variables, like there are, well, actually, we primarily deal with 2, categorical and quantitative, but there is a 3rd. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. You are surveying students in 6th period, and you use this survey question. How many students have past experience in statistics? So typically, let's say I'm doing surveys of you, and I occasionally will, using a Google form, and I want to know how many of my students have past experience in statistics. So that sounds like the question of what I want to know. Does that make it a good survey question? So if I were to ask you specifically, how many students have past experience in statistics, and then I said, in your class, then you would say, I have no idea. I just know about myself. So this is actually not a good survey question. I would call it more the research question, the question you're trying to answer. So a survey question must be answerable by the person filling out the survey. A single student won't know how many in 6th period have past experience in statistics. So this is actually does not gather data for any variable. I have to gather data for using a different question to answer the one I gave you. So if I wanted to gather data to answer that research type question, I would reword my survey question to say, do you have past experience with statistics? All right. So remember, on surveys, you've got to word the question so the person doing it can answer it. This is kind of a little picadillo of mine, because I've seen lots of surveys where they want to know something like, oh, how many have past experience in stats? And that's the question they use, but the survey person can't answer it. Okay, which of the following is the definition of a population? Well, this is actually on the foldable we did in class, and it is the entire group of individuals we want information about. All right, so if you look in that foldable in your notes, that packet should be usable. There you go. And next problem, question 3. So the University of Texas Alumni Association wants to estimate the average salary for new graduates. A random sample of 1,200 recent graduates was surveyed. So what is the variable I'm going to be recording on each individual? Keep individual in mind, all right? Well, I'm not really recording graduation year. That's not what they're looking for. They're looking for average salary. But it's average salary for the group, which means I need salary for the individuals, all right? So I'm just going to ask for salary. Is this quantitative or categorical? Salary is a number, so it's not like you're going to tell me green. So that is a quantitative variable. Now, what is the implied population? So population is a group you want to get information about. Are we just interested in the 1,200 recent graduates? No, we are not. We are interested in all of the graduates. We're just limiting our survey to 1,200. That's our sample. So recent UT graduates is our population, the implied population. Okay, Mr. Austin measures the age, marital status, and earned income of an SRS. So I haven't taught you what that is yet, sorry. That's a simple random sample of 1,463 women. The number and types of variables you have measured is, and so let's find out, what are we measuring? We're measuring age. And what kind of variable is that? It's a number. It's quantitative. We're also seeing their marital status. Are they single? Are they divorced? Are they married? Are they widowed? And that is a categorical. Notice I didn't say any numbers. I was saying different categories. And how much money they earned, and that again is quantitative. So I see 2 quantitative, 1 categorical. There are 3 variables, and E matches. Next question. Well, actually, let me go ahead and elaborate. I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about variables. So you're going to see sometimes identifiers. Those are not categorical or quantitative. They're not really variables per se, at least not for us, all right? And then you can see a bunch of yes/no questions here. Yes/no is automatically categorical. So you could say that first question is cancer in the last 12 months, and then that would be the top of your spreadsheet column, and you would say yes or no. Then, do you have a thyroid problem? So you'd say thyroid, question mark. High blood pressure, cardiovascular conditions. Are you pregnant? And so those are all categorical. If you want to give us your current weight, weight is a quantitative, it's a number, so is height. Ethnic background is categorical. Now on the right I've got, so this is like an intake form for health. So that's an example of a survey, and you see how an individual can answer all the questions. On the right is a spreadsheet, and I actually was keeping track of my blood sugar. This was back in 2020, late August, right before school started. So you can see there's ordinal. So normally we're not going to use this ordinal, but it helps me identify. So it's kind of an identifier for me. What reading am I talking about? Then I have a quantitative variable, which is my blood sugar level right there, and the time of day. So here I just did morning, evening, or afternoon, and because I did it that way, it's categorical. You open a package of plain M&M candies and count how many there are of each color. The distribution of the variable candy color is, all right. So again, we may not have explicitly talked about distribution. Your book probably does a slightly better job of that. But let me tell you what a distribution is right now. So a distribution is a combination of a variable and a frequency. So here, assuming we've already done the Parkinson's shirt class simulation, some of you may have jumped on it already, on this assignment already. This is an example of one class from previous year, and each dot, so really the distribution here, if you look, it's that number correct and the frequency. So on the right, that spreadsheet, let me see if I can pull out my pointer. Where's my pointer? It won't let me point. First time recording using PowerPoint. So anyway, so you can see the number correct, 0, 1 through 12, right? And then you see the frequencies associated with these. Aha, there's my pointer options. Voila, pointer options, excuse me. And laser pointer, we'll do laser pointer because it's not doing a big pointer. There you go. So here are the variable and the possible values for it. And then this is how many times we recorded those values for the variable. All right. So that is a distribution. It can show up as a table. It can show up here. This is actually a dot plot. And there are different ways you can show distributions. So going back to this, what is the distribution? The distribution are going to be the colors, but also the frequencies for each color. So it would actually be D. Last question on your assignment. See, you have a short assignment. Basically, all you have to do is match up this circle graph, also known as pie chart, with the distribution. So we have a distribution here. The variable is species, and the possible values are black, red, scarlet, I think pin. I'm not sure what pin is. It's not colors, it's species, so I guess that's okay. And white. So this is a categorical variable. This is a distribution for a categorical variable. And then we went and we recorded the frequencies for each of these species, right? So one of these is a representation of this table. So the easiest thing for me to do first is to add up all the species to figure out how many I got total, and it's 99. And then elimination will be easiest. So I'm going to say that 25 should be pretty good. So let's go ahead. That looks like 25%. Yeah, it's pretty close to 25%. So I can tell right now that that one doesn't match. See how black is definitely less than 25%, right? And then this one doesn't match either, and neither does that one. So now I'm down between A and C. Well, I can just look at the values for white. This is just a little over 25%. It's not even a third. It's under, it's under 33%. So let's go ahead and calculate the percentage of white. And it's actually 40 out of 99, so it's roughly 40%. So our correct answer is C. All right, well, that's it for your problems. If you have any questions, please use that last free response question in there, or feel free to bring it up in class. But I find, honestly, I can read everybody's responses if you use that last free response question.